When the PS1 and PS2 were at the height of their popularity, we were really spoiled with the great exclusives they offered. The PS1 had Spyro and Crash, while the PS2 had Sly Cooper, Jak and Daxter, and Ratchet and Clank. Sure, the PS3 has given us some really remarkable adventures like The Last of Us and the Infamous games, but as excellent as they are, realism just isn't my cup of tea when it comes to games. I prefer the style prevalent in those earlier games. Thankfully, Ratchet and Clank managed to survive this transition, and this past console generation has managed to give us a new set of adventures from the Lombax and Robot in addition to two smaller games. Into the Nexus was one of my favorite games of 2013, and Crack in Time is easily in my top 5 of the last generation. But I still think that Going Commando is the strongest entry in the series and deserving of a spot on the list. Of course, an individual with a discerning eye would notice that the footage accompanying my voice is not in fact Going Commando, but actually Up Your Arsenal. I actually played Going Commando a few months ago, and as much as I love it, I didn't want to play all the way through it again just to get a few clips for this video. But replaying Up Your Arsenal does give me a nice reference point for this video. See, the first game was just an opportunity for the series to try out new things. The formula hadn't been tested yet. Granted, it worked pretty damn well, but the control wasn't entirely polished at that point. Up Your Arsenal took the established formula and changed it up in favor of a more combat-oriented, linear experience, which works for what it is, but Going Commando is just the absolute paragon of great level design, explorative gameplay, and unparalleled pacing. The story is unpredictable and hits its beats in just the right places. Each world is distinctive and memorable, with branching paths structured in a pseudo-Metroidvania fashion, since finding new gadgets sends you back to older worlds for optional upgrades and other fun doodads. Weapons are varied, devastating, and just downright fun, but they're not too complicated to use or cycle between. I do consider Up Your Arsenal to be a downgrade from Going Commando, if only because instead of expanding on varied gameplay and non-linear routes, it streamlined the mechanics in such a way that they don't feel like they agree with one another. Mini-games and Clank submissions come along much less frequently in Up Your Arsenal, and half the game tends to just feel like you're completing arena-style defense or assault missions one after the other. I guess I just love how much Going Commando really feels like an adventure, with all the steps and missteps that entails. That's why it's my favorite entry in the series and why it takes the number 19 spot on the list.